That was Arise and Shine by Cynthia Lok. Cynthia is a singer-songwriter from North Vancouver, British Columbia. Thank you for joining me, Cynthia.
Yeah, for sure. So happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. Tell us a bit about your background.
Okay. Well, I grew up in British Columbia, so that one is kind of boring. But my parents are from Indonesia, so the background and heritage is Indonesian Chinese. Like our blood is Chinese, but our culture and language is Indonesian. But they came here, and I'm married. I have 2 kids and 2 dogs. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. Life is full. Life is busy, and yeah.
How did you get into singing and recording music? When did you start?
Yeah, I started in like 2003, I would say. It was kind of like I kind of stumbled into singing and worship leading. Basically, it was just a need in the church. They're like, "Oh, we need someone to lead worship. Like, Cynthia, will you lead worship?" And so I'm like, "Okay, I've never done it before." And so like when I first started leading worship, I didn't know anything. I could, I was like really afraid, and like I would hide behind the music stand, and that's kind of how I got started. And then after that, I was like, I never want to do this again. It's so scary. But then it's been a journey. And my pastor of the church that I was a part of, like a while back, like 20 years ago, she really encouraged me, and she actually was the one who really spoke into my life, and she spoke words that she felt like the Father had for me, like in terms of like, I feel like God is wanting you to sing. I feel like God is wanting you to write songs, and so that's kind of like where that all started. Because I was studying to be an accountant, and I still am doing accounting right now, actually.
Yeah.
Helps fund the music. But back then I was studying to be an accountant. And so I was like, what? Like, how does accounting and songwriting go together? So she just like, she spoke over me and she said, like, I see you writing songs, and I see people coming to know Christ, like through your voice, that when people hear your voice, that their hearts are going to be unhardened and they're going to encounter the Lord. And so just having her encourage me throughout the many, many, many years was the reason why I am singing. And that's the reason why I'm writing songs, is because it's because she spoke to me, and now it's like, okay, well, I believe that God has spoken through her and several others in terms of like continuing to sing and to write. And so
words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in pitchers of silver. That's one of the verses in Proverbs that tells you how important fitting and encouraging words are. And that was it for you, and that's beautiful. The words of Arise and Shine, what inspired the song?
That song, I was in a season of brokenness, and it was like a really hard season where there was generational strongholds and patterns and like wrong patterns of thinking, and they were definitely getting the better of me. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine who is a prayer warrior, she gave me these two scriptures, and I'll just share them with you, and I have them right here.
Sure. Yeah.
So she gave me Isaiah chapter 58 verse 12. It says, and your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in. And then she also gave me Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. It says, arise, shine, for your light has come. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you. And so she just gave me these words at a really, really hard season of my life. And like, it was a prophetic word. It's just like in the book of Isaiah, like there's a lot of prophetic and future telling words. And so, like it was, I don't even know what year it was, but it was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago that she gave me that word. 2020 was like really, really like a tough season for me. And so, but now fast forward like 5 years, basically like God has done this work in me. So like, the strongholds, the wrong patterns of the things that I've seen in my past generation in terms of like wrong patterns of thinking and like things that are unhealthy in terms of reactions and even just raising children and all that kind of stuff. Like to make a long story short, like I went through freedom session and I did therapy from about 2020 until like 2023. And so it was like that season, that 3.5 year season where God really did a major work in me and in our family. And so like, even my husband has said like, Cynthia, you're not the same person that you were X years ago because of just what God has done in terms of just healing thought patterns, healing memories, because all of that will come out in your reactions and in present day. And so, like God has rebuilt the ancient ruins. Like he's restored, like he restored our family. Like he's restored the relationship that I have with my parents. He's restored the relationship that I have with my husband and with my kids. And yeah, like God has shone his light. Like I really feel like he's really shone his light, and his glory is just like over me and over our family. So he's done an amazing work. So yeah.
That's a powerful testimony because it shows the transforming and healing power of God. And many people, especially in Vancouver, Lower Mainland, don't know that yet. So you find people looking for this healing in other things, especially drugs that we see it across Canada, where people are turning to harmful substances to find that healing, but it's not coming. And your testimony is powerful because it shows that we can find that healing and transformation through Jesus. You're a worship leader. For how long have you been a worship leader now?
Yeah, well, I am a worship leader, although in my current church, I've been more kind of support. I mean, I do lead at prayer. I'm not like one of the main worship leaders where I'm like leading like the entire congregation. And so prior to moving to my current church that I'm a part of, I was the main worship leader, and I did lead worship and stuff. But so I don't know how long that's been. I think 2003 or 2004. So it's been a while. I lead worship in different contexts now. Like it's different. It's not like in a church setting. So like I have a community online. And so like every couple of months, like we'll meet and we'll have a time of prayer and worship. And so like I'll lead worship that way. So it's like different from before. And then in my church, we have noonday prayer. That setting is a bit different. It's not like, come everybody, like let's focus and worship on God, like worship the Lord and bless him. It's like this place where we are ministering to the Lord, where we're blessing him, and we focus on like thanking him and like telling him who he is. And then people who come are like invited into that space of blessing and ministering to him. And so it's like when you think of the term like worship leader, it's usually you would typically think of a person who's leading the congregation
Music and
like
song.
on a Sunday service, like to look at the Lord and to like sing to him and lift their hands and stuff like that. And so it's looking a little different in this season. But yeah, so since 2004 until now, it's different in this season. So yeah.
How does that involvement in church influence the kind of music you produce?
Yeah, it's a lot. You know what? I moved to my current church that I've been a part of for 4 years now. But before that, I was with my pastor, the one that I shared about, like the one who like she was a spiritual mother to me, and like she spoke like encouraging words and like words of prophetic words and stuff like that. So I was with her and like with that congregation for a while. Like I think it was, I don't know how many years, but like almost 20 years I was with her. And so moving to this new church actually was God's direction. Like there was a bunch of supernatural like confirmations where like I felt like God was leading our family out from our church that we were part of into a new church. And so even that process, there was a song that came out of that. So it was called My Home. So that song, so like literally I had it in my heart. I wasn't sure if I should be like moving or transitioning, but then like I would talk to people. I hadn't talked to this particular person for like, I don't know, years. This person like said, I see you transitioning out of your church. And I was like, what? So like, and I was already thinking about it and praying about it, and I wasn't sure. And the reason why was because like my kids were getting older and there wasn't like that many kids in the church that I was a part of. And so that's why the transition was really hard for me, because like I loved my pastor and she was like a mother to me. But then I'm thinking about my kids and like them needing a place to grow and stuff. And so that whole move actually inspired a song. There you go. And then when I moved to my new church, this was when everything was like happening. So 2020, so many things, like there was a bunch of things that happened to our family, and that's what caused all the things being exposed in my life, and like God like really shining his light in terms of like, hey, we need to address this. Like this is not a healthy way of responding. This is not, you're not thinking rightly here. And like God was just like purifying me. He was like, showing me what I valued. Like I needed to be in that old church. She was so affirming and so this, and like she spoke destiny. And so when I moved to my new church, I thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like, all my dreams are gonna come true. Like, because I've received words over the years, like God's going to use you. He's going to use your songs. Like they're going to touch the nations. Like you're going to be like leading an auditorium filled with people. Like, I had all of these like words, like you're going to be standing in the nations and like people are going to be singing your songs, all these kinds of things. And so I thought that when I came to this new church that those things were going to happen. But instead, everything went completely the opposite direction. And so that's where actually my song Promise. So that's the one that I sang at the awards.
Yeah.
That song was birthed from moving to this new church. Everything was going the opposite direction. It felt like all the dreams and all the things that God spoke over my life were completely the opposite direction. Yeah, it's been a process and a journey. And so yes, my songs are definitely inspired by my current church. The songs that are like going to be coming up in my upcoming album, which I have not recorded yet, but I'm currently in fundraising mode, and I do have some songs in production. But a lot of those songs are very influenced from just what we stand for as a church. Now, even though I'm still waiting for some things, I'm experiencing more of His peace. I'm experiencing more of His joy. Because it's about the journey, because I know it's about the journey, and I know like God's with me. He's everything. Like when you have Him, when you experience Him, like He is the embodiment of peace. Like He's the embodiment of, like He is joy, like He is love. And so like when you're in His presence, then it's like, well, I have everything that I need, right? But we're human. So like, so we experience Him, and then it's like, oh, and then we like sometimes get caught up by things of the world again. But I'm just so grateful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the cross. I'm thankful for what You've done. Like whether this happens or not, like my desire and my goal, and all I want to do is like, I want to give You the reward of Your suffering, like through my life, like, because You are worthy.
He has to take us through those things to get us to a particular point, to trust Him more. That's how faith grows, right? Also, 2020 was pivotal for so many people. It changed family dynamics, work dynamics, community dynamics. How we worship even changed in terms of in person and virtual and mixing that now and all that kind of stuff. Your music ranges from, upbeat anthems like The Breaker to more intimate songs of healing. Does the process change depending on the experience?
No, it's just, literally I get an idea and then I'll just write it and like finish it. So like the process, I think like for the more for the upbeat anthem, like that one just happened to turn out that way. It just like originally when I wrote that one I wrote when I was in my older church, and yeah, like there was people that were just going through a lot of difficult situations. And so I like wrote that song from a place of like, I'm going to declare this prophetically, meaning like you haven't seen it happen yet, but like when you declare something, like when God declares something, it happens. Like it might not happen instantly, but like it will happen. And so when I wrote that song, there was just like people were going through a bunch of stuff, and we're at dead end situations. And so that's kind of like, I was just like reading about like the breaker anointing and like what that looked like and what that would look like in a person's life. And so that song just like came out from like knowing what's happening in the congregation and just like my own like fascination with like, wow, God, like you are the breaker, like you make a way when there is no way. And then like finding scripture that talks about that, like he rips open the prison doors. Like he physically did that back in the day. Like I haven't physically experienced that where he's like ripping out the prison doors, but we experience him as the breaker in different ways. Like it might be like so like for my pastor, like when I sang this song at church one time, like she wanted to have like a healing service or whatever, right? And so when I sang this song, it wasn't like the upbeat pop thing, it was like a band thing, and it was like slower and stuff at the time. And so when we sang this song, What happened was like literally the next day, like she actually experienced like the breaker. Like she was at a dead end situation. She didn't share all the details like with me, but she said it was like something, and it was like it was her family situation, and it was just like at a dead end, and she was just like she hadn't felt peace in 3 months. And then when I sang that song the next day, like that situation actually turned around like 180 for her. So like she experienced God as the breaker. And so yeah, like that song came from that place, and then I just sent it to the producer, and then he was the one who like I was very like, I'm not one of those, when I started off like releasing music, I was just like, all I had was a voice memo, like my voice, and then like the piano, and then I gave it to the producer, and then I'm just like, let's see what happens from this from this. But for this particular song, because we did it in church, so I had like a rough recording of like us as a band like playing it. And so, but yeah, he transformed it into like this pop upbeat thing, and I was like, yeah, I like this.
I'm going to play that song, Breaker. When we come back, we'll continue talking about some other things.
All mountains be removed, all pathways be made straight, as I declare your truth. You clear the way, you shatter doors of bronze, rip open prison gates. I cast down every lie, you break the chains. I am free, I can breathe, I can see the breaker is here. I am healed, I have peace, I can see the breaker is here. The breaker is here. Oh, the breaker is here. Oh, your kingdom will advance as angels clear the way. The victory's in my mouth as I shout your name, as I declare your praise. Heaven fills this place. My heart realigns. Your purpose prevails. I am free. I can breathe. I can see the breaker is here. I am healed. I have peace. I can see the breaker is here. The breaker is here. Oh, the breaker is here. Every wall breaks down, fear comes tumbling to the ground. The breaker's here. You are here. Hear the songs of faith rise up from the dusty grave. The breaker's here. You are here. Every stronghold breaks and battles won in Jesus' name. The breaker's here. You are here. Bursting through the gates come the sound of endless praise. The breaker's here. You are here. The breaker's here. I am free. I can breathe. I can see the breaker is here. I am healed. I have peace. I can see the breaker is here. The breaker is here. Oh, the breaker is
That was Breaker. And you just talked about how that song came about. And he is the breaker. He breaks
Yeah.
chains. And sometimes he has to break our stride and redirect us as you've experienced as well. When persons come up to you or send you messages about the songs, or what's the feedback about your music?
Yeah, I've had several people just message me, and they actually, there's a couple people who said like literally my song, not that particular song, but like another song, like
Yeah,
helped me to come back to church. So one of them is like, I was just
beautiful.
I'm like about to give my life to Christ and like, and get baptized. And like your music was like what helped me to make that, to make it over the finish line, so to speak.
Hmm.
So I've had some people share that, which is like, yeah, just so amazing. So I'm like really so honored to be a part of their journey. They really feel like God is speaking to them and encountering them like through my music. But like when I share live and like kind of the stories behind the songs, like I've had so many people like come up to me and say like they felt like God was like speaking to them like directly and really speaking into their situation. And so yeah, I'm just really grateful that
Hmm.
like I can partner with him and that he can speak through me, and like really is what you were sharing, right? Like the word spoken at the right time, like a word
Yeah,
fitly spoken.
yeah.
And so I'm just really grateful to be able to do that with God.
You shared moments of breakthroughs and freedom through the music. Can you share a kind of specific moment when you felt that healing or your music caused that healing in someone else?
Well, definitely. For me, there was like it was kind of like a gradual thing because like I shared that a bunch of stuff happened in 2020, including COVID. So
Of
there's
course.
COVID. I had a bunch of accidents that happened to my daughter. So that was the one that exposed all this stuff in me, like in terms of like, oh my goodness, like there is something.
Yeah.
Um, well, I can share it. I can't share it here. Yeah, so basically in 2020, I my daughter, she like was running around at church and then she broke her foot. Like she tripped and she broke her
Mm.
foot. And then like a week and a half after that, I accidentally spilled boiling hot water all over her, and then she had to go to the hospital like 2 times to get her burns treated. And it
Mm.
was just like,
Wow.
yeah, it was devastating because it was her face and stuff. But thank God, like her face is okay. And then like literally, it was like literally like she broke her foot 1 week after, boiling
Yeah.
hot water, and then
Yeah.
after that, COVID. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then she's like she's 2. And then I have another son who's like, he was 5 at the time, and then the kids are at home. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just a lot. And then I had to deal with
Yeah.
her and like all of her injuries. And then so basically what happened was like when the whole boiling hot water thing happened,
Mm.
my husband came home and we were both screaming, right? And then he was like, what is she doing in the kitchen? She shouldn't be in the kitchen. So it was in the kitchen where this all happened.
Yeah.
He's like, she shouldn't be in the kitchen. And then I was like, I felt like so blamed and attacked that I had a butter knife in my hand, and I was like, if you come anywhere near me, I'm gonna hurt you, like with this. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I think there's something wrong with me. So that's when it clicked. I'm like, there's something not okay with me mentally. And
Mm.
then like after that, it was COVID, and then I just kept on spiraling into like depression, anger, like outbursts. Like I was just losing it.
Yeah.
It was just horrible, right? And so that's when I started doing the therapy. Because like I've done like inner healing stuff before that, but it was
Hmm.
just like, like a little bit. And then I knew I had issues, but like I felt like God had really dealt with some things, but like this thing just opened up like
Yeah.
more things that like needed to be addressed. And
Mm.
so, yeah, so like I did therapy and then freedom session, and it was like, it was really bad because like everything would trigger me. And then I had walls up, and then I couldn't
Mm.
say sorry to my husband. And like I was just flipping out at the kids, right? Like it was literally for a long time, right? And as I'm doing these sessions, but eventually, like you, and even my husband's like, I don't think it's working. It's not working. And so we were like just angry, and then like and then a couple years went by, and then all of a sudden things started to like click. Like when you address the root, like when
Mm.
you realize it's like, oh, you had trauma when you were a child, right? And like let's
Mm.
actually like look at that, and like let's grieve about that, right? And like really like processing and looking at things like with a therapist, and then
Mm.
with freedom session. And then all of a sudden like something upsets me, but then instead of like reacting right away, because then that's where you have like my therapist said I had PTSD. Like
Mm.
I felt like I had no control over like the reactions. And it's like, and then once the reaction goes out, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like that's that's horrible, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm a Christian, and like I acted like this is bad, right? And I'm like, oh God,
Mm.
like help me, like deliver me, like you, yeah, like you are my deliverer, like I'm a mess, like oh my God, I just need you. So basically, like eventually, I was at the point where I was like, oh, I'm getting triggered, but I'm able to like, okay, I don't have to react right away, like I can like, oh, this probably relates to how I felt when I was younger. And
Mm-hmm.
this, and then so I'm able to like slow down, or I was able to like, if I do react, then I am able to like, oh, process that. And then like, oh, okay, like I can do this better like next time. And then you can still celebrate the small steps that you take. It's like, oh, well, you know what? I reacted better than I did last time. And like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to say sorry sooner, right? So then there's like these little steps that you take, and it's like celebrating the steps, like
Yes.
celebrating like the wins. And it's not about like snapping your fingers and it's like boom, you're healed. It's like it's the process.
Yeah, and I can relate to that somewhat. When I was younger, it was in the kitchen as well. I was burnt, but with boiling oil.
Oh my gosh.
So even now, if you look at my right side, you can see the marks are still there. It was in the kitchen just the same. My mom walked out and I wanted to see what was happening in the pot. So I climbed up and it all just came over on me, right? Thankfully, it didn't touch my face. My father also came home shortly after and saw me in this big pan of water just trying to cool off. And then the huge blisters started coming up. And, it was an ordeal for them as well. So when you started talking about the burning and stuff, it brought back those memories for me as well. So I know the kind of trauma and you were scared and everything like that. And then the other things added to that, it was a lot for you. I can see with that part of it. But then getting the therapy and working through that, and your husband standing by you, and you going through and recognizing that this needs to be fixed. It's a strong and powerful lesson, because many persons carry a lot of childhood things, not knowing that it's the underlying reason for the bigger things, right?
Yes.
So that's a wonderful reminder. I want to talk about a little bit the upbringing that you had, being from your parents being from Indonesia. I understand some of the culture in East and Southeast Asia because I spent a few years in South Korea. So I learned their culture and way of life. Was there a kind of a pressure on you to become a particular person?
Yeah, well, my parents, actually, it was different for them. I guess like they didn't have those kind of like pressures in terms of like, I want you to be like a successful like businesswoman or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like for them, again, I always say this like when I share this, my parents did their very best to raise me, and I honor them. And like things are so much better now. And even my parents have like come out to my sharings, and then they're like, are you still, does it make up for the trauma, Cynthia? So they're like, we'll kind of joke about that. But I like my mom, they both had trauma too. So like in terms of, I use the word trauma very like loosely, but like basically they were never affirmed by their parents. And so like growing up, like emotions, like they didn't know anything about emotions and like how to validate the emotions and how to process emotions. And so because they never had that upbringing, they didn't know how to impart that to me. And so like
Right.
my mom, she actually kind of ran away from her mom. Like her mom was like crazy, like literally she was crazy. Like she had to take medication for her mental state. Like she would like, my grandma would throw, I've never met her before, but she would throw stuff at my mom's friends. So there was no relationship between my mom and her mom. And so, and then with my dad too, like there was no relationship between parents. And like, having relationship with your parents is like
Yeah.
big foundation things.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you don't have parents who affirmed you and loved you and rooted for you and like all those kinds of things, it leaves gaping holes. And so that's kind of like where my reactions came out like previously when with the boiling hot water. I just thought I wasn't a good enough mom and a good enough wife. And like, I like threatened to divorce my husband because it's like, I can't do anything right. You just take care of, so it's just like all these thoughts that have come from childhood that were like, and then the enemy will just capitalize on those lies. Like, you are not good enough. You are not this enough, you are not that enough. Because like when you were brought up, like my parents didn't know how to like say, oh, you're beautiful, and like, oh, you're so smart. Like they didn't know how to say that. It was like very like, did you do this, did you do that? It was just like order. And so I actually had no relationship with my parents growing up. And so I didn't want to have anything to do with them. Like I didn't like them. And so like we're good. But now I have a house next to my parents and things are completely healed. So like
Oh wow, yeah.
that is what God has done in our family. But like in terms of
Praise God for
upbringing,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Like, so God has really like, he probably purposely put the house next door on sale so that we could be reconciled. So it's like literally God's plan to reconcile our family. But yeah, growing up, honestly, like they did their best. And like, I know that there's so many other stories of people,
Yeah.
like we're not supposed to compare stories, but like, so many other people, like their parents like abuse them and blah, blah, blah. So my parents never abused me. They just didn't know how to affirm me. They didn't know how to champion me. They didn't know how to like have a relationship with me. And so that left a bunch of gaping holes, but like they provided for me. They really did, like financially and everything. So yeah, but I didn't have a relationship with my mom. Like I started like maybe in my 20s, and then like especially when I had children. So once I had the children and my mom was next door, and like I couldn't even put the baby down. I was like, what? I can't even put you down. I have to hold you on all times. And then I'm like, Mom, can you just hold the baby so I can take a shower? Right. So then like that really helped to heal the
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
too. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
well, thanks, Mom.
So would
Thanks for
you
helping
say,
me.
now that you're a mom,
Yeah.
has that cycle been broken, or
Yes.
you're still working on it?
100%. It is completely broken. Like
Oh,
my kids, with Evan, he might have some issues because we still didn't really know. Because I did the therapy stuff when he was a bit older, and Kara was like, well, he wasn't like super old. Like he was, let's see here. I was still learning when it was Evan, but like with Kara, like we're validating the feelings a lot more and like helping her through things. With Evan, like they know that they're loved, and we talk to them and we apologize. And so I can say that, of course, no matter what you do as parents,
yeah.
they will
Yeah.
always have woundings because we are not perfect. But like in terms of like
Amen.
that,
Yeah.
that cycle and just being critical and like not understanding and not hearing the children,
Yeah.
that has been broken. And so,
Praise God for that.
yeah, praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Praise God for that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the brokenness was healed over time for you, and then you don't have to pass on a lot of the things that your parents went through and that you went through. So the healing will be generational. You see what
Amen.
that is?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's going to carry on
Yeah.
beyond you, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
the beautiful thing about it. Songs like Take Courage and Arise and Shine, they feel pretty powerful. And, they stand out because they are stories, and you've expressed that they are from your experiences. Have any of those songs like surprised you when you were creating them?
Surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Take Courage, that one we did as like a group project when we, I don't know if we've heard of Worship Central. Like Tim Hughes started Worship Central.
No.
Tim Hughes is the guy who wrote, I'm coming. No, that's Matt Redman. Light of the World. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Okay, so he started Worship Central, and then we had an academy in Vancouver, and so I was a part of that. And then a part of that academy, one of
Yeah.
our projects was actually to write a song together. And so I wrote a song with two other people, and then Mia Fields, she's like a pro songwriter. She like helped us, and then Paul Baloche, if you know Paul Baloche. So they kind of, as part of the group project, they helped us with our songs and stuff. And so that's how Take Courage happened. It was actually through that project. But then as we were doing that song, at first it didn't really mean too much to me. But then, we were writing this song, and then all of that stuff happened. It was the 2020 stuff that happened. So I was like, oh my gosh, I do need to take courage. Like, I really feel like the battle is just like raging, and like I need to just like take courage. And so like that song really surprised me because and it was really nice because I got that song for free, so I didn't have to pay for it. So I got a free produced song, and then I pitched it to radio. But before that, like, yeah, so before that, I didn't have a relationship with the radio stations. It's only until I went to the GMA awards. So like I got connected through Jake Fretz. So Jake Fretz and I wrote a song called My Home. And so he introduced me to GMA Canada, Gospel Music Association of Canada. And so they had an in-person award celebration. And then I had the opportunity to sing My Home live with Jake. And so that's when I met the people from the radio stations. And then after the awards, because Jake and I, we won an award for My Home. After that, like when I was talking to the radio stations, they would respond back to me. And so, and then that's when I pitched Take Courage. And then Take Courage surprised me because I didn't really think much of the song. Although it did, like, it did strengthen me because I was going through all that stuff in 2020. But yeah, it was the first time that it hit the top 30 charts for Canadian Christian radio stations. So it was on the top 30 charts for 15 weeks. So that song really surprised me.
That's a good thing. That's really how. So that's how these award shows. I was gonna ask you about it, but then you just fit it right in quite conveniently there. That's good. The passion you have about music and worship, your encounter with Jesus, how has that allowed you to be more creative and serve the community more?
Yeah, I mean, most of my songs, they come from my encounters with God. Like sometimes, even if they're not for anybody else, like they're for me. It's like I feel like they're a diary of. I mean, I do keep a diary and I keep a journal of, like, especially things that God has said, and like I'll write it and I'll meditate on it. But like when I put it in music form and I play it, there's been so many times, like Bitter into Sweet, because like literally Bitter into Sweet was also from that horrible 2020 experience. Like I was bitter and then like God literally turned it sweet. So like when I was going through that season where things were really hard and I would sing that song or I would play it back, I would just be in tears because like I felt like God was like speaking to me. Like I felt like he was ministering to me. And so, yeah. And then I feel like those encounters, like when you've encountered those things with the Lord, then you're able to like share that with others and invite them into those encounters, like through your songs and through your stories. And so, they're really important. Yeah. Having encounters and friendship and intimacy with God. Yeah. Because he's the only one who can do anything. Like, honestly, it's like songs are just songs, but like only God can heal. Only God can deliver. Only he can do that. Like there's like a peace that we know, but like there's God's peace is like unexplainable. Like it's, so only God can do what he can do.
How did you start doing those worship nights at persons' homes? That part of it, the virtual ones, how did that start?
Oh, the virtual ones. So I don't do them in people's homes. I do them in my own home.
Your own home. Okay.
Yeah. So just like I put the camera on and then I'm like playing. And so yeah, I used to do them a bit more, but like now I'm doing them like maybe once every like 2 months or so. But yeah, so like I'm very grateful. I got a grant this year. And so I had money to run advertisements. And so I was running advertisements and then I had people come through and then I was able to like get their information and stuff. And so from that group that came in, just like, hey, if anyone wants to do like worship and prayer, you can join. This is when it's going to be. And then so people will just show up. And then so the people that that Facebook and Instagram have gotten, and then I have their contact information, and then so I'll just be like, yeah, if you want to join, you can, and I'll usually most of them are I will sing my own songs. So during those times, it'll be worship and prayer time, but with my own songs because I don't have a license to do other people's songs. So I'm like, I'm just gonna sing my own songs, and then we'll pray, and then like there'll be some sharing and stuff like that. Like,
Okay. That's good. Yeah. Is there a person who has mentored you or that has been at the forefront to help you along?
Yeah, I've had a couple of like mentors along the way. And so I I literally, well, first of all, my pastor, like my late pastor, she actually passed away last year.
Oh, she did.
My spiritual mother,
Mm,
she definitely was a mentor to me in terms of like, not in the specifics of like um, writing and releasing music and like this is how you do it. It was just the spiritual component,
yeah.
which is like very important. And then like along the way, I've like taken courses and stuff. And so in terms of like all the nitty gritty of like how do you get your music out there and like how do you fundraise? How do you get people, like how do you share your music? How do you build a community? Like that stuff, I had to take courses for those, and they were very pricey courses. And like they had one of them, I did a coaching course with his name is Chris Greenwood. He's Manifest. He's an artist too. So like I did a coaching program with him, and he was the one who encouraged me to like go apply for grants, go apply for Factor. I haven't been able to get Factor, but like he encouraged me to get grants, and so I was able to get a creative BC Creative one. Yeah, so I've had that. Yeah.
What would you say to your younger self, and what advice would you give to a younger person who wants to get into music?
Yeah, I would definitely say like it's all about the journey, and it is about encountering God and enjoying him, and like try your best. I mean, ask God to help you, to give you the grace to enjoy the journey and the process,
Yeah.
and try not to compare, because comparison is a killer. Yeah, like
Yes.
there's someone who just released a song. Is Her name is Chelsea Amber. She's also from BC, and she has a song, and it's called "Stay in My Lane," and it's like literally stay in your lane. Like God, um, he can like snap his fingers if he wants to, and he can like have
Absolutely. Yeah.
millions of people like listen. But like, what has God asked you and called you to, and like and being faithful to that. And something that my pastor really said to me that really, really spoke to me, because I was in a season of brokenness where I was like, oh, all these dreams are just shattered. He said to me, he's like, Cynthia, has God called you to write? And I'm like, yes. He's like, come over here, like hold your head up high. It's not about the people. Like, it's not about how many people or the platform.
Hmm.
Like God will do what he wants with your songs, but you have records to play, you have a story to tell, so play them, and like God will make of them what he wants to. And it's, yeah, and so that's what I'm doing, like whether it's for 5 people or for one person. Like God has called us, like some people he's called and they're gonna like affect thousands or 10,000s or millions or whatever, and then for others it's like maybe he just wants you to be faithful with the 10 people that are in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And so trying not to get caught up in the numbers game. But of course
Yeah.
we all want to be significant, but like, yeah,
Of course.
we
Yeah.
are significant in the Lord's eyes.
Absolutely. You are doing music, and you're doing accounting, you're a mom, you're a wife, and many other things. What do you do? What do you enjoy doing outside of music?
I like eating.
Right.
I like, I mean, but everyone eats, but I like eat. I like going, you ask my husband, we've sometimes we're like, oh, I want to try this like ice cream place. And then we'll drive like 45 minutes to get there so I can try this ice cream place. So I definitely like eating yummy food. And I do like playing tennis, although I haven't played tennis in a while. I love the beach and just looking at nature and like the waves, and
Yeah.
not that I could do it every time, but like snorkeling and like being out in the ocean and like seeing the fish and stuff. Like if I was on vacation, that's what I would like to do.
And North
To
Van is
answer your
beautiful, so you have all that nature around you as well. Finally, do the kids enjoy mom's music?
question. I can't say that my son does. Like they'll play it. Like sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, you get 0.0003 cents. Okay, I'll stream your music." I don't know if they really enjoy my music, but they'll listen to. They will. They've listened to my music, and sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, why don't we just do one of your songs, Mom?" But he
Mhm.
does. You know what? Like my son, he surprised me because he did like in his class. He mentioned that I write songs and stuff, and so like he encouraged his teacher to like find my music, and then they would play, the whole classroom were like heard my music, right? So yeah, maybe he secretly is proud, but
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Cynthia, thank you so very much for taking the time to share with me. It was enlightening, it was encouraging, and thank you for being vulnerable as well. Sometimes it's very hard to do. So many persons who listen will be encouraged by your story and by your music.
Thank you so much.
Clear the way, your shattered doors of bronze ripple back.